On the early morning of April 9, 1997, police in Chang'an County, Xi'an City, Shanxi Province, China, received a report that an 18-year-old girl named Ni Jiati from Shangbei village had gone missing. The night before, Ni Jiati had been working overtime at a factory, and she usually cycled home around 10 p.m., but her family waited and waited without seeing her return. After searching in vain throughout the night, they reported her disappearance to the police. A co-worker saw Ni Jiati cycling toward Shangbei village as usual at around 9 p.m. On the 5-kilometer road she took home, particularly along a 2-kilometer stretch of wheat fields, the police found traces of trampling and dragging, but an extensive search of the surrounding 10 kilometers revealed no further clues. On April 12th, 3 days after Ni Jiati's disappearance, a villager reported finding her body in a wasteland less than 100 meters from Shangbei village. She had been raped and strangled. Her bicycle and wallet were missing. The Xi'an City Criminal Investigation Team concluded that the killer acted quickly and ruthlessly, indicating it was not his first crime. He was likely living in relatively poor conditions and not only intended to rape, but also targeted the victim's possessions. The police then investigated men living alone, the unemployed, and those with criminal records in the surrounding villages, questioning each household. But the investigation yielded no results. After several months, the case reached a dead end without any progress. On December 15, 1997, another rape and murder occurred in Taiping village, adjacent to Shangbei village. The victim was also a young woman who was attacked while returning home alone at night. The crime bore striking similarities to the case of Ni Jiati. The two cases occurred 8 months apart, but the locations were only a few kilometers away. Both victims were murdered not far from their homes, and the killer could easily escape after committing the crime, leaving no trace at the scene. From this, the police believed the culprit was likely a local who was familiar with the roads and paths in the villages. 2 months later, on February 13, 1998, another girl was murdered in Nanfeng village nearby using a similar method. The series of murders caused widespread fear among the public, and young women were afraid to go out alone. As the police intensified their investigation, the crimes continued. From February 28, 1998, to November 24, 1998. Within just 9 months, 8 rapes and murders occurred around Xi'an. Compared to the first 3 cases, there were some differences in these 8 incidents. In some of the rapes, the perpetrator tried to strangle the victims, but only rendered them unconscious. One victim's body was not mutilated. Seeing the increasing complexity of the case, the police set up a special task force and interrogated the surviving victims. One of the victims, attacked on November 1, 1998, said she clearly saw the face of the perpetrator before losing consciousness. He was not tall, thin, with sunken cheeks and sharp lips. His attire suggested he was a manual laborer, and he spoke with a different regional accent. After the police released a sketch of the suspect based on the victim's description, a villager reported that the suspect resembled Tong Kanping, who had once worked at a kiln in the village, but had returned to his hometown a few days earlier. On November 13, 1998, the police arrested Tong Kanping in his hometown. He admitted to committing rape, but denied ever killing anyone. He claimed he had only tried to harm one victim because she saw his face, but his attempt was unsuccessful. Tong Kanping's confession matched the cases involving surviving victims. However, when comparing his DNA with the DNA found on the victims, the results did not match. At this time, a local resident reported having seen a man standing for a long time near the scene where a young girl had her skull crushed on September 23rd. The man was identified as Chang Deeping, who had a prior record of sexually harassing women. Chang Deeping was arrested by the police at his home. During interrogation, he confessed to committing 2 rapes and murdering a victim on September 23rd. While the police were questioning Chang Deeping, on November 24th, another 19-year-old girl in Chang'an County was murdered. Realizing that there was still another suspect at large, the police re-examined the entire case. During the process of reviewing the files, they were surprised to find that similar cases had been happening since 1992. In 1994, there were 8 rape cases, 6 of which resulted in the victims' deaths. From 1995 to 1996, there were 6 victims, with 3 of them murdered. From 1997 to 1998, 45 cases occurred in Xi'an, with 12 victims killed. Due to the high crime rate, limited investigative technology and the traditional investigation methods that consumed significant time and effort, along with outdated communication methods, police departments in different areas couldn't share information in a timely manner, leaving many cases unsolved. While re-interviewing surviving victims, the police received an important clue from a woman named Su Yiru. Su Yiru said she had been attacked from behind by a man while cycling home at night. Thanks to her tall, strong physique, she managed to struggle and fight with him for several minutes. Just as she was about to be overpowered, a group of young men cycling by scared the attacker off. According to Su Yiru, the perpetrator was around 40 years old, with messy hair and beard, slim but very strong, and possibly a labourer or farmer from another area. On December 13th, 1998, Su Yiru suddenly rushed to the police station reporting that she had spotted the attacker sitting in the bushes by the roadside, seemingly waiting for another opportunity to strike. The investigation team immediately rushed to the scene, surrounded him, and arrested the man. According to the investigation, the suspect was identified as Wang Wanning, born in 1957 in Liaoning province, who was living with his wife's family in Yanta district. When police searched Wang Wanning's residence, they found various incriminating items, including bicycles, wallets, and women's underwear. Faced with both witness testimony and physical evidence, Wang Wanning confessed to his crimes. Wang Wanning had previously been sentenced to 5 years in prison for rape in 1981, but he was released early and placed under house arrest for good behaviour. In 1983, he reoffended and was sentenced to 19 years in prison. In 1986, due to tuberculosis, Wang was sent to a hospital for treatment. During this time, he used a saw to cut through the metal bars on a window and escaped to Xi'an, where he worked as a fruit orchard caretaker. In 1991, Wang was introduced to a woman who had previously been married, and he moved in with her family in Yanta district. On June 2nd, 1992, Wang Wanning committed his first rape in Xi'an, strangling the victim afterward out of fear of being recognized. Wang exploited his temporary jobs in various locations to continue committing crimes, remaining quiet for periods after each attack before striking again. By the time he was arrested in 1998, Wang had committed a total of 52 rapes, murdered 21 victims, and desecrated their bodies to satisfy his twisted psychological desires. Wang's DNA matched the DNA found on the victims. Wang Wanning, Tong Kanping, and Chang Diping did not know each other and committed their crimes independently. This coincidental overlap complicated the police investigation and left the residents of Xi'an living in fear for 7 years. Statistics show that Tong Kanping committed 6 rapes but failed to murder his victims, while Chang Deping committed 2 rapes and killed 1 victim. All 3 rapists were sentenced to death and were executed immediately. What do you think about today's case? Please leave your comments below so we can discuss it together. Don't forget to support us with a like and subscribe to the channel to motivate our team to bring more dramatic cases. And that concludes today's case. Thank you, dear viewers, for watching. Goodbye, and see you next time.